3 months prior to the event. The first one, arguably the very first one that ever made a statement like this. Alex Jones also made the statement on July 25th. There was no love lost between the two, but we're looking for answers. We're asking questions, and Doyle Shamley is going to be with us next week, joining us in the second hour. So we're looking forward to that. I think everyone will find it interesting. We have a clip of Bill Cooper, and this is a short little speech he made in 1989. I want to make sure everyone understands the time. 1989, he was saying this. So we want to play that clip for you now. All right, we are back on the Real News. Barron and Brian covering the news that the mainstream puppet corporate-owned press dare not report, and we're going to continue with that this segment. Again, next week, our guest will be Virginia Foxx. She'll be taking some questions from you, the listeners. And next hour, we've got several items we want to cover. Then we're going to go to the phone. So go ahead, Brian, get us started in our last segment this hour.
This was written by Scott Wagner. He's a police academy commander and professor at Columbus State University College in Columbus, Ohio, and commander of the 727th Counter-Terror Training Unit, a 29-year law enforcement veteran and current deputy sheriff. He's also a precision marksman for the Union County Sheriff's Office SRT team. Sales of guns, black guns, rifles, shotguns, and handguns everywhere have gone through the roof. AR-15s have literally blown off dealer shelves. Manufacturers of ARs are still working to catch up, and some of the major suppliers are as much as 150,000 guns behind. Not only that, ammo is in the shortest supply I've ever seen in my 43 years of shooting life. Have you recently tried to get 5.56 or 9mm ammo? What is odd about this new fear is that it's not coming from the average citizen gun owner out here, but it's coming from what to me is an almost shocking source: street cops. Street cops and SWAT cops that I've known from various agencies, rural, suburban, metro, in my area, are scared. Cops that before November 2008 never gave much thought to politics or, more importantly, to gun rights. For the most part, these guys didn't generally have any...
I only have...
Yeah, we were playing the wrong clip there. We're going to play featured video for...
I don't care what you think of me. I don't care what you call me. I do care what you do with this information because it is important to our survival as a species. It's important to our planet. It is important for the world. What happens to me is of no consequence, and I knew that when I started this. Over the last 17 years, I knew that someday I was going to have to get up and say this, whether I wanted to or not, whether I was afraid or not. Now I am here, and now it is done. And I feel an overwhelming relief. You now have the information. You can laugh at it. You can throw it in the trash can. You can burn my house down if you want to. But I am telling you right now, your future, your children's future, your grandchildren's future depends upon what you do with this information. Your own government is selling your children drugs, and you don't seem to care. Your own government has given away the power of the people, and you don't seem to care. There is an apathy that is running rampant in this country that is deadly. Whether or not there are aliens. We are truly now at this moment a nation of sheep. And ladies and gentlemen, I assure you that sheep are always led to the slaughter. But it does not have to be that way. There is tremendous power in knowledge. There is also tremendous power in secrecy. Take away that secrecy, you make sure that you're informed, and you can change things and stop fighting with each other.
Okay, that was Bill Cooper, 1989, and all through the 90s he released a wealth of information. His book is Behold a Pale Horse. It's also available on CD. You can go to eBay. You can find the information, but a very interesting story how he was shot and killed on his front porch on November 5th, 2001 by his local sheriff's department. His body laid there for 15 hours while they waited for a coroner. Very interesting story. This gentleman released a lot of information in the truth movement, and it goes virtually unheard of. He is not remembered, and as long as we're doing radio, we are going to remember Waco, and we need to remember Bill Cooper. So again, next week, Doyle Shamley, his co-host, that was there at the time of his murder, we're going to discuss Bill Cooper's work and Bill Cooper's death all hour next week in the second hour. So I just wanted to give everyone just a little bit of a taste of Bill Cooper. We're going to go ahead and give out the phone number. We'd like to take calls. Anyone would like to call in, comment on any of the information we have give you today or anything you would like to add, feel free to call in. Don't wait till the last minute. A lot of people call in when we're going off the air, it seems. The phone number is 1-866-986-6397. Again, I'll give you the number, 1-866-986-6397. So this is what this broadcast is for. It's for the listener to call in and state what is on your mind. And while we wait and see if we get some calls, Brian, this past week, the Senate Democrats attached the hate crime laws to a must-pass defense bill. This is reported by the New York Times because they are so determined to get the hate crimes bill passed. Senate Democrats said on Monday that they would seek to broaden the federal hate crimes law to protect victims of attacks based on gender, sexual orientation, gender identity, or disabilities. To lift the chances of passage, Democrats said the legislation known as the Matthew Shepard's Hate Crimes Prevention Act would be attached as an amendment to the annual defense authorization bill funding the military, a must-pass measure. Brian, this is what they always do. Anytime there's any questionable legislation, especially that the American people obviously don't want to pass, they attach it to something that must pass. Any surprise to you?
No surprise whatsoever, and this is precisely what Virginia Foxx, our congresswoman from North Carolina 5th District, we had on last hour, was discussing, the old bait and switch.
Same old, coming out of Washington. And again, if you'd like to call in, 1-866-986-6397, and we'll just continue with the news, Brian.
This was an interesting story. Dispute over flag protests erupts in Wisconsin Village. An American flag flown upside down as a protest in a northern Wisconsin village was seized by police before a 4th of July parade, and the businessman who flew it, an Iraq war veteran, claims the officers trespassed and stole his property. The day after the parade, police returned the flag, and the man's protest over a liquor store license continued. It's not often you see something like this blatant, the American Civil Liberties Union stated.
Hold that. We'll continue with that when we come back after the break. 3 minutes. You're here listening to the Liberty News Radio Network. Farron and Brian on The Real News. The website's therealnewsradio.com.
This gentleman lived in Wisconsin, and he was flying an upside-down flag outside of his restaurant, which an upside-down flag is, most people probably don't know, is a signal of distress. It's not really of disrespect, as most people would take it. It means, I'm in trouble, help. It's not necessarily saying, the heck with the United States, as, again, most people would think. But he was flying this outside of his restaurant, and the police came and actually stole it from him, which, of course, is a direct violation of his civil rights, as the American Civil Liberties Union stated later on. And this is a Marine veteran from Iraq.
Unbelievable. A very similar case happened here in North Carolina a couple of years ago, so that's interesting information.
Mr. Coggin